let me tell you a little bit about what you're going to experience in the next hour. If you ever have felt like you're working hard in your business, but you're not seeing the full progress, the results, the impact that you are really in search of, you're in the right place. If you're stuck in a cycle of frustration, wondering why your efforts aren't translating into the success that you envision for your business, well, then you are absolutely in the right place. If this sounds familiar, it's time to break through those hidden barriers that are holding you back and unleash your business's true potential. So every single month, Leadership Global is honored to be able to share with you the Breakthrough Power Hour series with Dagmar Fleming. It's on the fourth Monday of every month at 4 o'clock p.m. Central, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and it offers live coaching as well as a masterclass about breaking through really tough barriers. Now, many of you have already jumped in the chat, but if you haven't yet, please jump into the chat and introduce yourself, your name, the name of your company. You're welcome to include the LinkedIn link if that serves you, and tell us a little bit about where you're tuning in from and what it is that you're looking for from this hour session. So tell us a little bit about what you're hoping to achieve over the next hour. Every single month, Dagmar's here with a new topic focused on shattering limitations, overcoming obstacles, and achieving true exponential success. And today, we're going to be focusing on the power of new beginnings, to embrace change, to seize new opportunities, and to skyrocket your business growth. And as all of you know, life is just full of transitions. And it's about embracing these cycles that can actually lead to remarkable opportunities. It's about letting go of resistance and actually embracing change. And this session today is going to explore the impact of letting go of past failures, past painful memories, and seizing new beginnings to unlock your business's potential. So today you're going to learn all about embracing change, harnessing new beginnings, renewed perspective and energy, and building resilience and adaptability. So before we jump in, let me tell you just a little bit about Dagmar. She is truly remarkable. I have the great honor of introducing you to our expert of the Leadership Global Breakthrough Power Hour, Dagmar Fleming. Dagmar is a success mentor, a mindset expert, and the developer of the triple quantum reset modality. It's a transformational approach designed to help leaders overcome mental, emotional, and energetic blocks for personal and professional success. She is a 4-time best-selling author and the founder of Unlock Your Success. And she offers mentorship programs that help guide leaders through significant growth and achievement. Her expertise is really in mindset transformation and has led her to be a sought-after speaker at leadership and motivational summits alongside some people that you may have heard of: Les Brown, Sharon Lechter, Diana Wentworth, Joe Fatale. Dagmar's strategies really do deliver deep, impactful changes, and she leads clients to substantial breakthroughs. She also leads the Athena Circle, where she focuses on empowering women to reach their full potential. So please help me welcome Dagmar Fleming.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. I am so excited. This is our second time we're getting together. I see a few familiar faces. Amy's back. Sarah is back. So wonderful. And welcome our new guests. A very quick note, Linda, I just put in the chat. We received an email from a few folks that are asking it to the link, the Zoom link. So if you don't mind checking the LinkedIn and your email, that might help. Sure. And let's get started. So number one, this is a meeting for us to really understand what's holding us from embracing the true potential. So it's not about PowerPoints. It's not about a lecture. It's really about transformational way to dig into the problem after we identify it and release it so that when you leave this session, you actually feel unstoppable, at least in that one area that we're working on. So today, the subject is really exciting to me because it's about letting go of past. And when you think about it, how much of your past is holding you today? Well, we're going to dig right into it, and I'll give you a guiding release process that we will go through before hot seat coaching that will teach you identify all the emotional attachments, the limiting beliefs, and anything that might be holding you back. But before we focus on the past, we need to know where we want to go. So the first question that I would like everyone to put in the chat is, what is your vision for a new beginning? Because this event is called Power of New Beginnings. So most likely in your mind, you had an idea of something that you wanted to accomplish. So what is that vision for you? What is that dream? If you could tomorrow accomplish your major goal, whether it's life or business, because they are actually pretty much combined, what would it be? So let's set up intention for what we're doing today. So take a moment, put that in the chat. If you prefer, you can unmute yourself and tell us directly. So whatever's more convenient. We are anchoring the idea of what we would like to actually experience in our life.
Do we raise our hand? What's the best way to do that? Do we do that?
Unmute yourself and start talking. This is
Okay.
totally casual.
Okay. So I'm in the midst of writing two books. One is with a co-author that will be through Wiley, and that's a year out, but I'm working on another one that I think I'm self-publishing. And I'd love for that to be published by the end of the year, like published and marketed. And I am going to use C-Suite. I say self-published, but it's like through the C-Suite brand, C-Suite Network brand.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I'd like that published for Christmas purchase.
Wonderful. Awesome. All right. Who else? Sarah talks about intention is to release childhood beliefs around money. And let's see what else we see in the chat. Trishane says her goal is to help others reach their full potential. Personal goals through counseling and life coaching. Wonderful. But let's narrow it down a little bit. Let's make it tangible. So Trishane, you've just launched your business. What's the vision by the end of 2024? How many clients? What's the revenue? What's the impact? What would you say is your vision?
That's a big question, actually, to narrow it down by revenue and impact. I would have to say I've been fortunate enough to not have too much of an overhead in driving this business. My goal is to have at least, I'd have to say 2 to 3 clients per week to start out. So that puts me about 12 clients a month, with an average package ranging from 900 to 2,500 based on sessions that they sign up for. And I haven't really put a number, I have a number to give to you right now. So that's just kind of what off the cuff my numbers would be.
Wonderful. And you already narrowed it down. So the reason we make our goals very specific is because think about universe acting like your universal GPS. And if you're leaving your house and say, take me somewhere, it will probably have a hard time. So at least if you say somewhere in Texas, now we narrow down the United States. But you're still in a garage and the car ain't moving because it doesn't know where to go, right? So when we work with the energy of the universe, when we are trying to manifest our dreams, the more specific we are, it's like literally taking all that energy that's out there like a tornado and giving it a laser focus, which we know laser is most powerful because if you need to fix your eyes, You don't want somebody with the big lamp. You want that laser to go straight through cornea, right? So, okay, wonderful. So we've got visions. If you're just joining us, please let us know what your big vision is that you came here to get the breakthrough for, because it will become relevant as we start releasing the old and embracing the new. Who else would like to share their vision? And you don't have to share with us your direct financial goals, but that was a very good goal when Trishane said, I want, let's say, 5 clients minimum a week on this kind of range. She knows where she's going, right? Who else would like to share the vision?
Hi, it's Joanne. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
Fabulous.
Excellent. Sorry, I'm a bit late. My vision I've just defined is to achieve $50,000 a month turnover, which is 10 clients, into my Her Transformation program, which is about resilience in business.
Beautiful, beautiful vision. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. So let's dig right into it. And by the way, everything I always do is super interactive, because when we speak, we push the energy. We start losing in the weeds that are in our mind, and we're making them just a little bit easier to get rid of. So the more we work together, the more we all expand, because as you will notice, there's a beautiful synchronicity that brings us to every session, which means that we usually have similar problems. And when Bryn is talking, Trishane's thinking, oh, that sounds like me. And when Trishane is talking, Joanne's thinking, I think I felt like that before, right? So we start rising together. So why am I so passionate about new beginnings? If you think about your brain, how often do you think about your past? What would you say? A lot, little, medium, throughout the day? Amy shows that little. Wonderful. You can put in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Let's poll the group. How much do you think you focus on your past throughout the day?
Very little.
Who else? What other ideas? We've got very little. Amy has that little. Does anyone have like a bit, maybe a lot?
Too much.
Too much. Vicky says too much. Wonderful. So I'm going to suggest that perhaps more than you consciously know of, because our brain continuously searches the data bank inside the brain and uses the past data to figure out what's happening in the future. So unfortunately, as part of our evolutionary survival, we tend to believe the past more than we believe the future. And this is where the problem starts, because we're saying, I want to be driving Porsche, but the brain goes inside and says, I don't think so, Dagmar. All I see is you've been driving Ford Focus. So why are you talking about a Porsche? We need to go back and drive 40 miles per hour because that's all you've ever done. So the problem is that a lot of our past experiences, concepts, self-perceptions, beliefs actually started way, way in our past, and even majority of it in our childhood. So that's pretty scary, because today you may say, you know, I used to eat rice and beans, but I'm ready for gourmet cheese. And the brain says, no, rice and beans is all we know. It's safer that way. So when we need to let go, whether it's a negative experience, especially when we were hurt, we start fighting our own internal thinking processes. And you might think, well, why? I mean, the brain's supposed to work for me, not against me. And there are 2 reasons why we hold on to the past. One is validation. Something happened to you when you were growing up. Perhaps you wanted to play with other kids in the sandbox, and they laughed at you, they shunned you, They told you to go away, and you felt horrible. You felt rejected. You felt that there was something wrong with you. Perhaps you felt unworthy, that you're not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough. And that was a lot of pain and sadness and hurt attached to that experience. So is it possible that today, when you're sitting in a boardroom, you're thinking, if I speak up, or if I ask my client for what I deserve, I'm gonna remember when I was rejected that time. And the brain says it's unsafe because it hurt. So it's protecting us from a possible negative experience today, and it is also validating what we felt. So think of it this way. I used to date a total schmuck, like the schmuck squared, okay, schmuck quantified. And when we broke up, I had a really hard time letting go that I allowed myself to be part of this experience. So in other words, my brain was saying, don't forgive, don't let it go, because if you do, that means the hurt you experience is not valid. But we can move on. We can step into the brighter future without invalidating the pain. It simply means we learned from the lesson, we extracted what we needed, and now we're gonna apply all the good, juicy stuff to the future, as opposed to holding the past. So the letting go can be very challenging, right? Because we need to, one, look at our emotional attachments. On the surface, if you're trying to recite a poem in front of kids in kindergarten, pretty innocent experience. But what if today you're still running on that shame of being laughed at? So you're not publicly speaking, you're not running summits, or you're not writing a book to share your message. Could it be that that little experience was so emotionally charged that today's entangled with any future perception of yourself? Could it be that you're taking that experience and unconsciously overlaying it on what you're thinking you're capable of today? And this is usually running so deeply in our subconscious mind that we do it on automatic. We're running these programs and we don't even know we have them. So when we let go, we have to confront these emotions. We have to allow ourselves possibility of saying, well, what is really going on? What am I really afraid of? Because if I create a webinar or masterclass to share my photography, as Amy does, or my life coaching as Trishane does, you know, what if people reject me? Well, again, we're bringing a possibility of repeating the past experience that has very little chance of materializing unless we give it attention and unless we keep replaying in our minds. Because what we focus on, we magnetize. So I'm spending so much time to demonstrate how the past controls our future, because most of you said very little. And yet, when we get stuck at any level of income or any aspect of our lives, it simply means we brought some baggage with us. So I'll tell you something funny. When I was coming on a marketing cruise, I got out of the cab and the guy said, do you have a lot of baggage? And I said, a lot, mostly emotional. You got to crack out of that. But that's what we do. We carry that baggage forward and end up unconsciously sabotaging our own dreams, sabotaging our own ability to thrive. So again, we need to simply untangle the emotional attachments. We need to release why we are stuck. So let's look at a few questions that I'm going to ask you. But before I do, I want to share with you my personal story and why I'm even so passionate about teaching you this. I was born in Poland during times of communism, when prevailing notion was that we need to keep our heads down. Poverty is revered. It's a virtue, and struggle is just how things are. So I came to America, and I was really excited about possibilities of entrepreneurship. And I did it all, I reached all the pinnacles of the American dream, right? I had my summa cum laude education, corporate career. I even opened my global consulting company. And my life was really good because I never looked for the clients. My reputation preceded me. Life was peachy. But have you noticed that if you were brought up with a certain mindset, which for me was poverty, hardship, that it would follow you into your adulthood? And that's exactly what happened to me. So when my business reached the levels of success I have never imagined in my entire lifetime, I started feeling uncomfortable. I started doing things to sabotage my own success. I would go to trade shows and not follow up with my prospects. Or I would get a contract, and believe it or not, I sometimes did the work and didn't charge for it. I was literally doing things to block myself from receiving money because I needed to go back to that little girl that was brought up in hardship, because that's what my brain was familiar with. That was my success comfort level. So communism was haunting me even after I left it. Now, the good news is that as I dove into why would I sabotage my own success, I started having this epiphany, this, what some people can say, a moment of intuition, of divine download, that showed me that a lot of times unconsciously, we bring the past with us into our present. And it starts controlling how we perceive ourselves, what actions we allow ourselves to take. And this was the beginning of my triple quantum reset process, which helped me release those emotional and mental barriers and set up a new company where I feel good doing what I do and I feel good about receiving money. So I'm sharing this story with you because I'm going to invite you now to take a moment and reflect. What do you think from your childhood or from your past experiences you may be bringing with you that is now actually holding you back? So let's take a moment, let's think about it. Is there an experience, a belief, a challenging situation that maybe at the time didn't appear to be as big influence as it is now, but maybe in the back of your mind right now is resonating, saying, I don't know, maybe that is why I'm not doing XYZ. And what areas of your life you may be unconsciously sabotaging? What is not going in business the way you wish it would? And whatever it is, because we have different desires, we have different business goals. And in what ways those possible past wounds might be today affecting you and holding you back. Now, we're doing this because to change something, we need to become first aware of it. So we need to identify the reasons why we are not going at 500 miles per hour. What is attached to the car that keeps us going at 20 or 40 miles per hour? So to get us started, we're going to do a breakout activity. And Trishane has a question, so go ahead and unmute yourself.
It is okay. I will share it when we go into breakouts. I thought you wanted us to
No, please, I
express it
would
now.
love to. Go ahead
I
and
was
share.
just going to acknowledge some of the difficulties that I imagine that I have to overcome with past experiences. Just growing up in a non-conventional home, did not have both parents. We grew up in poverty as well. I've been quite fortunate to accelerate my education and to accomplish some great things in my career. And venturing out on my own as an entrepreneur is different. It's risky. It's not a big corporation behind me, supporting if I was to fail. So some of those fears can get me stuck in thinking that no, you're not going to be successful on your own. No, you need to stay tied to what you're used to working for a corporation. So those are some of the mental obstacles I think that are part of my journey to overcome and not get stuck in the you can't make it happen, you can't do it on your own.
Beautiful. And thank you so much, Trishane, for sharing. By the way, we are recording this event. However, as a recording for our audiences, we will remove all of your personal conversations. So it will be just my teaching that will be posted. So please feel free to share openly, because we will not share it outside of this meeting for confidentiality purposes. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anyone else want to maybe tell us what's been surfacing as we talk about possible past experiences? Go ahead, Joanne.
Wow, such an epiphany, Dagmar, and thank you for having me think about this. My parents, we weren't poor, but we certainly weren't wealthy. My dad had a business and he lost everything. My mother is the sort of person that continues at 93 to give everything away for free. And I've just the epiphanies that are coming. My father wouldn't let me go to university with the underlying statement that I wasn't good enough and that it was a safer bet to go get a job. And so these things have just come through my brain as you were sharing, what could be connecting me to this stuff. And so I've had big business, but it's failed. I liquidated it. And so these things I feel are just has created a pattern of behavior for me that I do a lot of things for people, but I do it for free.
Thank you. And we will go through the deeper release process where we will identify all the emotions attached to it. But I just want to congratulate you all, because think about how just opening this container of possibility that something from the past is unconsciously pulling the string like on a marionette is already opening door to like fresh perspective. And that's what happens when we ask these questions and we share. We start really bringing it to the surface. So thank you so much for doing that. Would anyone else like to share now? Okay, Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, it's something I've thought about over several years, is, because it's something that you always have those barriers. And for me, it has culminated to where, because I'm such a people pleaser, I don't want to disappoint people. So family, clients, friends, it's not, but it's funny because it's not that how do I phrase this? I should be concerned about not disappointing myself as opposed to not disappointing others, because by not wanting to disappoint other people, then I don't take actions that I need to. And I don't maybe make the decisions that should be keep things in more of a holding pattern. Don't set boundaries because I'm wanting to please everybody. Don't say no all the time. Or like you said, you end up not charging people because you want to please them, and I'm afraid that I'm not good enough with my work. And so it culminates in a lot of different areas of that fear of disappointing people.
Mm-hmm. So, Amy, would it be all right if I commented on it right away?
Sure.
Okay, because your energy is very open. So, when you were talking, the question came up, why other people more important than you?
I think that does stems from childhood. It's keeping my parents and my family were normal, everyday family. My dad was just a very loud person. My husband's a very loud person. So that as I'm a more sensitive person, that I took that on as long as I'm a good girl and I'm taking care of everybody, everybody's happy. Knowing that's more of an emotional and child, because knowing as I grew up that my parents loved me, my dad loved me. It had nothing to do with not being proud of me, it's how I interpreted things as a child. And so I see that coming back up and bubbling a lot. And don't rock the boat, make everybody happy. I take on a lot of that responsibility, I think, of trying to make the people happy. And that's something I'm fighting constantly, because unless I make myself happy, I can't truly make anybody else happy. And ultimately, they can only make themselves happy as well.
So what would you lose, Amy, if you rock the boat?
What would I lose if I rock the boat? Probably nothing. It's just scary. There's change in my horizon, and it's very scary.
Mm-hmm. But growing up, what would you have lost if you were not a good girl and if you did not keep everybody happy and not
I wouldn't
disappointed?
have lost. No, I wouldn't have lost anything looking back. My parents, it still would have, life would have just happened just like now. And it takes a while. I'll go through peaks and valleys where I'm doing really good and focusing on myself and what we need to do, and realize, hey, life is going on and it doesn't really matter. Especially as you get older, you realize there's not a whole lot of these things at points that are really so important to you. That everybody else can take care of themselves in a way. But yeah, it's still, it's ingrained, it's that. And I also think because of empathy and as a caretaker, that's just who I am to a point. And so coming back and trying to set boundaries and making decisions and allowing those paths to open up and go and see what happens, because there's more. I know there's change. Like I said, there's change on the horizon, and it's very scary. And I've got to get over those humps and just let things happen.
Mm-hmm. Would it be okay, Amy, if I ask you to repeat everything is okay?
Repeat what?
Just say everything is okay.
Oh, everything is okay.
Everybody is okay.
Everybody is okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't have to fix their lives.
I don't have to fix their lives.
Mm-hmm. Their challenges are appropriate for where they are.
Their challenges are appropriate for where they are.
Mm-hmm. I'll assist if someone asks me.
I will assist if somebody asks me.
But it's also okay if they work it out on their own.
It's okay if they work it out on their own.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you, Amy, is it okay if they work it out on their own?
Yes.
Do you really
They
have
need
to
to.
take care of everybody?
No.
Yeah. I think it's time for Amy to have her time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the vision we're gonna set up today for you to shift out of this responsibility. Because
Yeah.
you said something very important, and you may not have even noticed when I said, what would you have lost? You actually did say nothing, right? Because
Right.
you finally realized nothing would have been lost. But thank you for this example, Amy, because a lot of people think that our sessions are about bashing people, or especially bashing parents. That's not what we are doing. When we are little, we are processing information on a brain that only lived for 5, 6 years, maybe 7 years. We don't have enough data. So something that our parents may have said or taught us, we may misinterpret. And today it may control us, it may limit us. That's not to say that they were mean, they were bad. It simply means we interpreted something and misinterpreted, most likely. And today we got stuck. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being so open with us. I'm just reminding everyone, none of these conversations will be presented on YouTube or anywhere else. That's just for us. And I really appreciate everyone stepping forward. Trishane, you had a question. No? Okay, because I saw your hand. Wonderful. All right. So let's do this. I'm gonna tune in for a second to see. Well, actually, let's poll you. Would you like to go into a one-on-one with another participant and talk a little bit about what possible limiting belief may be holding you today or a challenging situation? Or would you rather, since there is a smaller group, work this out in a group right now, right here? What would you like to do? Just put in the chat. Let's quickly poll everyone. Okay, Trishane says group here. Who else? All right, in the group, wonderful. All right, so normally if we have like a lot, we can we can go into individual groups, but since we are right now smaller, let's just keep going. So what we are talking right now is how these past experiences may unconsciously be influencing how we are showing up in life. So I'm going to do a guided meditation, a release process that will help us identify the old way of being and then the new way of being. So what I would like to first do is to invite you to bring forward in your mind this experience that you feel that may be controlling you today. Because we're going to dig into it a little bit. And we're going to figure out what are individual emotions attached to each of these events or limiting beliefs. All right. So what is your big dream? What do you think is holding you from achieving that goal? What may be the limiting belief or something that occurred to you in childhood, in growing up, that you think is like, yeah, it was when these kids just like were mean to me in elementary school or something like that. And what we'll do now is just put you through this release process. So I'm going to invite all of you to just relax. Sit down as comfortable as you can in the chair. If you're holding any tension, give yourself permission to let it go, release. I know it may sound like a heavy topic, but it's actually something really groovy that we're doing because we're like I've got big dreams, I've got big desires, and I need to go. So if I've got some old shoes that I need to dump, that's okay, because there are beautiful princess slippers waiting for me around the corner. All right. So imagine yourself surrounded by a beautiful bubble of light, like your own sacred space, your own place where you can bring up that issue and let it go. And when you're thinking about your challenge that you want to shift, what do you think you're doing right now to create that old reality, to recreate it today? What steps you may be unconsciously taking that are sabotaging the vision that you have for yourself? And what do you think you could be doing differently, but you are not? So as you look at that very thing that you are trying to overcome, we're gonna try to identify the underlying causes, the energetic entanglements and emotional ties to how you're today unconsciously blocking yourself from progress. So imagine that you are having in front of you erected a beautiful stage. And on that stage, there are multiple doors. Behind each door, there's an emotion that may be holding you back. So we're just gonna watch some movies. When you're ready, open the door all the way to your left and see what movie plays behind it. Behind this door, we're going to look at any time in your life your fear controlled how you showed up. What is a situation or place that occurred to you in the past that scared you, make you anxious, unsure, that today may be resonating in your mind? What information are you getting about the way fear may be blocking you today? And now, in appreciation of this information, let's get back to the main stage. And we're gonna go through the second door. And that door will teach us about hurt. So go ahead and open it and look at the movie that's played in front of you. What happened in the past? Maybe you were a little kid and some other kids hurt you with something they did. Maybe it was your parents, grandparents. Any time in your life where you opened your heart and there was a little bit of a pain in return. How is it influencing you today? How are you protecting yourself from being hurt again? So in gratitude for what showed up, let's come back to the main stage and let's watch another movie. This one will be about your self-worth. So go ahead and open that door and look at something that may have occurred that made you doubt what you're capable of, what you can accomplish. Perhaps made you feel unworthy of your success. What were the situations, people, events? How is it affecting you today? How does it show up in your reality now? So let's come back to the main stage. Again, always in appreciation of the information that we receive. And now let's look at the final emotion for today, and that is power. So go ahead and open that door. And is there any experience in your life where when you felt that somebody took your power away from you? You couldn't make a decision. Maybe decision was made for you. And it may have led you to believe that others decide for you. So go ahead and come back to the main stage and remain in this beautiful meditative state. You have received a lot of information. You know exactly what can be released, can be let go of. So let's create a vision, a powerful vision for where you want to go next. What is it that you would love to create in your life and in your business? If all those movies disappeared and were no longer valid, how would you show up? What would you do that you haven't done yet? And now that you know that you don't have to be stuck in that old script, how does it feel to just grab this vision and make it yours? So if you're ready to let go of these old movies, just imagine that every single door is on fire now, symbolically being burnt to ashes, left in the past where it belongs, no longer resonating within you, no longer holding you back. and say to yourself, I let it go. I let it go now. I lived it, I experienced it, and it made me wiser. Today, I take my power back, and everything that I've experienced, I will use to build a beautiful castle upon the shack of those experiences. So what are you doing now? Now that all those memories of negative experience are redefined, rewritten, now that the power is back within your hands, what are you willing to do? What will you allow yourself to experience? How are you feeling about it? Excited? Energized? Optimistic? Pump up the volume on that excitement, because that's your vision. That's the possibility you want to draw into you. That's where you want to reside. Say to yourself, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it now. Universe, watch me. I'm coming for you. I deserve it. It is my dream and I claim it now. And with that, say it is so, because I said so. And so it is. And when you're ready, and only when you are ready, come back into your body. Come back into this presence with a big smile on your face, because you claimed your future. You brought it into this moment, and you're ready to rock and roll. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for participating in this. And I'd like to now open the forum for anything that is showing up for you. Anything you gained from it, any major realizations? How do you feel about your next steps? Anything at all? Let's start sharing.
I have to say, that was incredibly powerful. Thank you. I feel incredibly light, and I just feel this orange glow around me. I just feel so different. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joanne. Who else? Let's talk for a moment about the emotions. When we went through worth, fear, power, what was resonating with you? What experiences were showing up? Did you have any recollection of experiences? You can share as much or as little as you want to.
I'll just share quickly that it became dark for me a little bit, opening several of those doors. And I was thinking to myself, okay, turn the ship around. It has to turn. It's going way too dark. But as we, as you imagined for us to burn those doors, that was powerful. That was taking control of that past emotion and setting it aflame and visualizing, bring it on. This is what I want to do. These are the choices I'm going to make. Was very hopeful and optimistic and confident in moving in that direction, and the opposite of the dark emotions, there's light. As she said, the orange beam around her, that was a good way to explain it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that exercise. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to talk about for a moment that darkness that we perceive. Do you all remember that when we were growing up, we were afraid when the light was off and the room was dark, or that there was something under the bed lurking to get us? And today we know that all we have to do is switch on the light, look on the bed, and know that there's nothing there, right? So I think sometimes we are so afraid what's under the bed because imagination is bigger than actual experience. And it's when we are not taught how to process emotions, we start running away from them. And then they compound like an interest in a bank, right? And you start feeling more and more fear about something that maybe wasn't that big at the time. So this exercise is designed to bring a candle into a dark cave and realize that even the tiny candle will light up the entire cave. So we don't need a lot of light to transmute the darkness, but we do need a little bit. We need the bravery of walking into the dark cave with that little candle and saying, I can see now, and you're not as scary as I thought you were. And that's exactly what we were doing today. Vicky, could I ask you just to say hello and say anything you
Oh,
felt
sure.
during this exercise?
Yeah, I had a lot of the darkness as well, like Shashan did. A lot of trauma and abuse in the past. And when you were just talking about the light and you mentioned something about we were not being taught how to process our feelings. That was like kind of like a big light bulb moment. Growing up, we didn't talk about anything. You know, you don't talk about your feelings. You don't talk about anything bad going on at home. You go out and you put the smile on face and you pretend everything's fine. Well, I had to be the perfectionist. Never felt good enough. Never felt like I deserved, anything. So always, and a lot of fear in my life. So I was like, I guess not talking about things growing up, maybe I didn't know how to process things.
Thank
And then when
you.
you're afraid that not of just emotional hurt, but physically being hurt if, something's not right or someone sees you, it's like kind of scary.
Thank you so much. So let's talk about this new vision that you are all creating right now, because we're burning those negative experiences, but we're stepping into new possibilities. So who's excited about what's coming forward? Do you feel charged up? Did you expand your ideas? Who would like to say about the expanded vision? Go ahead, Joanne.
Well, I visualized the number that I shared with you before, and I added a few zeros to it, which got me incredibly excited. Thank you. But I continue to see and feel that there's going to be a moment of me on a stage sharing and giving back, and so I just see that stage is getting bigger. So thank you.
Wonderful. Who else? Who else got a big, exciting, juicy vision they've just created? Or the vision that you had, but you reinforced?
I need to work on a vision because I've always been afraid to dream too big or think too big. It's like just kind of stay in your own little private space where you're safe and don't bother dreaming because you're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. So that's something I have to try to work on.
All right. So would it be okay if we work on some of the issues that you may be experiencing now? Would you like all to do that? A little bit more hot seat coaching. All right. So, Vicky, would you like to start, or someone else would like to come forward? What is it that you have urgent on your mind that you would like to shift out of?
I guess being afraid all the time.
So tell me a little bit more. What are you afraid of?
Well, afraid of failing, afraid of being alone, afraid of getting hurt, all different things.
So let me ask you, Vicky, when you are thinking about fear, where does it resonate in your body?
Like, oh, like physical pain? Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Yeah, where is it sitting in your body?
Usually it's in my back and my head.
Your back and what?
My head. I have headaches a lot, and they've been
Okay.
really bad lately.
Okay. Would it be okay to give you a little bit of release? Okay. So bring attention to your back. You can close your eyes for a moment. And go ahead and start pulling all the emotion of fear from the top of your head to the middle of spine, and from the bottom of spine to the middle of spine. So we are just draining all these emotions to the middle of your spine. And now that it's there, imagine that there is a faucet attached to your spine. And we're going to open that faucet and we're going to start draining it. And by the way, if anyone is on the call and you have any emotions of fear, hesitation, anxiousness, just follow along with Vicky, because it works on everyone at once. And before we look into the psychological, emotional, mental reasons behind fear, I'm just hearing that you hold a lot of emotional backlog in your physical body. So it's kind of hard to move forward when you're dealing with the body on top of everything else. Would you agree?
Yes.
All right. So how is it draining?
Slowly.
Yeah, but is it going?
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep doing that. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale with your mouth open. And imagine that you are a balloon that is being deflated. All of these discordant polarized energies, we're going to gather them together, send them to this beautiful faucet that's attached to you in your back, which also symbolizes the past. And with a nice deep inhale through the nose and an exhale with your mouth open, tell yourself, I let it go now. And as you're releasing, Vicky, let me ask you this question. Has fear ever done much for you?
I guess it makes me hide myself from people, trying to be more cautious and not take chances.
Yeah. So the fear is actually a futile emotion. There's this beautiful movie that Will Smith did with his son called After Earth, I think is the title. And he says that the danger is clear and present, but fear lives in our mind. And it's about something that has not happened, most likely will not happen, and yet is paralyzing us from taking the actions that we want in our lives. So we should respond to clear and present danger, but fear has no place other than positive emotion when you're recognizing expansion. So for example, if I've never spoken on a stage to 10,000 people and I'm starting to feel a little bit anxious, That is my system telling me, hey, you're doing something out of ordinary. So that kind of fear, instead of taking that emotion and stopping me from speaking, I say to the fear, hey, wow, cool, I'm doing something new. You're just flagging me that there's something new going on. So I'm actually excited. I'm doing something big. So that's a good fear as a messenger. But the fear when we are worried, will people judge me? Will people perceive me this way? Or what if they will laugh at me? That is all just imaginary scenario in the future that has not occurred. And yet it's dictating what I can or cannot do today. So it's actually stopping me, right?
Hmm.
So would you say that it's not doing a lot for you?
It's not helping.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to start by giving yourself permission of let it go.
That's
We
hard.
create the emotion, we lock it in, right? How about
Hmm.
we just say, okay, well, yeah, you're around, but I've got the faucet, so we're going to drain some of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be all right to drain it?
I probably should. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I keep working with you on it, Vicky, is because we get addicted to an emotion. Even biologically, if you listen to Joe Dispenza, he talks literally how after we've had a thought that is created over and over again, it creates an emotion, and it's actually emotion that we're addicted to. So we can be addicted to a negative emotion just as much as to the positive one. The problem now is it keeps running our life. So let's start by literally just a permission to let it go, or permission to have less of it,
Okay.
right? So we don't have to be logical. We're just taking the emotion and loosening the grip. So how about you say, like, I allow myself to feel less scared.
I allow myself to feel less scared.
I allow myself to feel more confident.
I allow myself to feel more confident.
I like feeling confident.
I like feeling confident.
I like feeling courageous.
I like feeling courageous.
Do you, Vicky?
If I felt it, I probably would like it.
Yeah. So we need to train the brain what it's supposed to feed you,
Hmm.
right? So a lot of times, and thank you so much for volunteering. Um, a lot of times we train the brain for an emotion, and now we are running on a closed circuit. So we have to wean ourselves off that emotion, but feed something instead of it by saying, I allow myself to feel courageous, confident. I allow myself to be a great speaker. I allow myself to earn money, anything at all. I actually wrote an article, Do You Allow Your Success? It's posted on LinkedIn and on my website, so I can invite you to read that. But a lot of times, to break down the negative belief system or emotion, we first have to allow it to go and allow something different instead. Allowing is like an opening the door and saying, could I have something else on the menu? And
Yeah.
when you're in a restaurant and you're always ordering enchilada, have you noticed that if you like come to a restaurant and it's your favorite and you always have your Swiss enchiladas, and suddenly the waiter says, no, try the chicken poblano, and you're like, I don't know, I'm scared. I've always done chicken enchiladas. I better stick to it. I know what it tastes like. I'm fed up with these enchiladas, but I know what they taste like, right? So the brain is putting us back. But we need to take the courageous step and say one day, nope, today I'm trying poblano. I want something new on the menu. So for you, Vicky, an exercise till our next session, which happens every fourth Monday of each month. Please invite your friends if you enjoy this. But your exercise, and for all of us, is to create something new on the menu and start feeding it to our brain every day. So what is the belief that you can create for the next 30 days? And offer it to yourself daily, just to open the mind to possibility of thinking differently. So it could be, I attract money from all unexpected sources, and you put it on a post-it notes, and you put it in your journal, and maybe you attach it to your computer and you put it over your coffee maker. And every time you see it, you're just gonna repeat that. So whatever it is that you are expanding it into, we need to start feeding your brain with that thought so that it will drop the other one and replace it with empowering belief, right? That's when you take control of your mind and you're saying, nope, this horse used to go all the way to the left. I'm tired of what I'm seeing. I'm gonna nudge it every single day to go to the right. And if we do it consistently with time, the old belief disappears. Now, Vicky, you have a lot of trauma energetically in your body and in your emotional and mental body, which is why the fear resonates so high. So what I'm going to do is put in the chat for you and for anyone on this call is a link to a private session with me. And this is something where I can go more deeper into respecting your privacy and the experiences that you wish or not wish to share with everyone. Okay, so the link is in the chat.
Okay.
That's for everyone on this session. Is there anyone else that would like to talk about something going on in life, in business, that you would like to shift out of? And just know that I will never say anything to embarrass you or to in any way to make you feel uncomfortable. So I can communicate with you dancing around the subject if need to. How can we help
Thank
you?
you.
What's resonating today? If there was one little shift, anything at all that you took out of it today, what would it be?
The shift for me is recognizing how much I do for free, and that I need to. Yeah, I didn't realize how much I did that, and I appreciate that, Dagmar, for raising that awareness in me. I'd love to book some time with you.
Wonderful.
I actually want to, note something about that, because I know it's something that I hear quite a bit from women who are entrepreneurs, and they're, maybe struggling with their pricing strategy, and they're trying to figure out where their competitive set really is and what that competitive set is charging on average and that type of thing. I will say there is a place to purposefully and intentionally begin by extending value. Just like Dagmar just offered a free session. Ladies, she could charge $500 an hour, right? She's giving you an hour of her time for free. She's extending value. And I feel like there is a place for that. You have to know when you're going to do that, and you have to understand the intention, the purpose behind it, the intention behind it. So I want to just sort of say out loud that, it's not universally bad to offer something for free, or to extend value, or lead with value. And at Leadership Global, we do this literally all day, every day. We support women, even if they're not members, and give them access to events and resources and tools and things like that. Now, at some point, there's a boundary, but we really do lead with value quite a bit. And I feel like that is an okay strategy. And I just want to say, don't beat yourself up if you find yourself, very purposefully and intentionally leading with value and offering something of service to other people. If it is part of your strategy, if this is part of your intention for how you build business, how you develop relationships, how you develop outreach, don't feel like it's universally bad. We do it all the time. Now, we do have boundaries. We say you can come to 2 of our events for free as a guest, but then after that, you have to join. Right. And C-suite does the same thing. And there's lots of boundaries around it, but you have to be clear about where those boundaries are and okay providing time or resources or tools for free occasionally, but it has to be intentional and purposeful, I feel.
You make a really good point, Linda, and I do that. What I'm missing are the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll work on those.
And I do have multiple resources for you ladies. So if you go to my website, dagmarfleming.com, every 2 weeks, I host Unlock Your Money Story masterclass, in which I talk about how convoluted relationship we have with money. And it's even though it's Unlock Your Money Story, it should be really Unlock My Own Story. Because we start adding values, preconceptions, expectations to money that have nothing to do with money. And when we figure out what's going on, that's when we can focus actually on money. That's when you can look at your financial strategies and hire the wealth strategist, which I don't do. But what I can help you with is understand the baggage that we unconsciously add to money. And then the money is waking up and saying, oh my goodness, so now I'm controlling her weight and I'm controlling her relationship and I'm controlling her vacation and I'm controlling what she does in business. What else am I controlling? Because I'd like to just be money and I can't because Vicky wants me to be her vacation partner and Joanna wants me to be her business strategies and